everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We're so excited today to have a very special double interview here. We have the director and producer of the Angry Birds movie 2 here. We have Thurop Van Orman and John Cohen here. And thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the podcast.
Woo, we're excited to be on. I'm Thurop.
Yeah. So,
hi, John. Hello.
Hi. So what we like to do is just give each of you a chance to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about how you ended up becoming a director or producer of this film. What about you, Thurop? Introduce yourself.
Hi. I'm Thurop. Thurop Van Orman. I'm the director of the movie. I became a director. I started in TV. I went to CalArts. I started in 2000 at CalArts, and that was my goal, was to be a movie director. And then once we got to CalArts and they told us, well, you have to put in your time 15, 20 years till you became a director, then I quickly lost interest in being a movie director and went and pitched my show Flapjack at Cartoon Network. And I'm glad that I had that experience. It was awesome to be able to make create so many stories so fast and really experiment and try a bunch of stuff. And it really ended up being like the exact same timeline that they told me, 15, 20 years before I got to direct the movie, but just a different route, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations in finishing. So this is your first feature film?
Yeah, I've helped out on a few. I helped develop the Little Prince movie. I worked on the Trolls movie at DreamWorks, and then I've just helped on a few movies here and there, just giving notes. But this is my first movie they let me direct.
That's amazing! Congratulations. What about you, John? Why don't you introduce yourself to all of us?
Oh gosh, I was just trying to think about how to give a short version of this answer. So I went to NYU for film school and then worked as an assistant for a few years after college. And I ended up, I was working for a producer named Scott Rudin in New York. And then I ended up working at 20th Century Fox in the animation division for Chris Meledandri, and was a studio executive on a bunch of movies there, including Ice Age movies and Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who and Alvin and the Chipmunks. And I had put together the Peanuts movie in that time when I was there. And so, from there I went and went with Chris to Illumination and produced Despicable Me, executive produced Hop, and developed a bunch of the projects that came after that. And then produced the Angry Birds movie in 2016. And then recently produced Angry Birds 2. So that was fast, right?
Yeah, that's super impressive. Wow. So was it a challenge coming up with what to do for a sequel to come after the first one was a hit?
The challenge for us was really actually the fun opportunity, because in the first Angry Birds, we were focused on bringing the game to life and telling that kind of weird story about birds and pigs stealing birds' eggs and all of that. And then the very cool thing that we were able to do with Angry Birds 2 is take the story into a totally new direction, and really tell an original story. And so it was a challenge, but also really, really fun to do.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool. How early on were you involved in it, Thurop, as far as the creation and the idea and everything like that?
I came on pretty early. I've been on the movie for about two and a half years. John had already had the idea, let's make the birds and pigs team up. And he pitched that idea to me, and I was like, oh man, that sounds amazing. And and I think John kind of already covered this, but the chance to work with the characters and the emotions of the characters and not have to worry about the game and servicing that, but just to service a good story with these really great characters was amazing for me. I think also just being able to develop these amazing new characters and to work with Leslie Jones and Aquafina and Rachel Bloom and Sterling K. Brown and all of the amazing new characters that we have, and to develop them was pretty fun, pretty amazing, and pretty freeing to not have to service the video game like they did in the first movie.
That makes sense. So how did you come up with the idea of Zeta as a character, and why did you decide to make her purple? She's such a distinct color. I was curious.
Oh, that's a really good question. You know, we actually tried a bunch of different colors, and we realized we didn't have a purple character, and so we wanted her to be distinct in the world of the movie. And so, yeah, that was how we landed on that. But she was designed by Francesca Natali, our character designer, and she is so incredible and designed all the characters in the first movie, adapting them from the games, and then all the new characters in this movie, and working with our incredible production designer Pete Oswald, we then took those characters into CG and into animation.
That's really, really cool. I was very impressed with the script. I thought it was very funny. I think I personally liked this movie better than the original. And I'm not just saying that because I'm interviewing you, I promise. But I thought it was really funny. And I particularly liked all the jokes with music. Like when you would play like Lionel Richie or something like that. I thought you nailed those jokes, and I was wondering what that process was like writing the script.
Can I jump in on this one?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So this movie we really treated as a really storyboard-driven movie, and that's pretty common in TV. I think it's less common in features. But I think we gave ourselves the freedom to really come up with a lot of the humor in storyboard form, and that's where we wrote a lot of the movie. So I think that's where a lot of those jokes came from. Some of the time, the storyboard artist actually pitched their sequence with music, and we used that exact music because it worked so well. And sometimes it's like, well, that was pretty funny, but let's make it even funnier, and we throw around ideas and come up with a better song. And we worked really collaboratively. So all of the storyboard artists, Sean Sharmat's the head of the story, John Cohen and I would sit in a room together, and we would just spitball ideas. So someone would pitch, and then we'd try to make it even funnier and plus it, and everyone joined in. Everyone had funny ideas. So really, this movie, I think, is a lot of the humor came from that amazing core group that really worked together and made the movie as a team.
That's great. I love hearing that. The jokes were so funny and were so continuous, and they kept coming that I was just laughing that I ended up really enjoying it. And I was wondering about the Hatchlings plot. It kind of was separated its own thing, and so I was wondering if that was a challenge of how to involve the Hatchlings.
Yeah, it was something that we worked on quite a bit and spent a lot of time with our whole team that Thurop just mentioned, really trying to craft what their story would be, and we had many different ideas along the way, but again, because the movie was so storyboarding driven, it really lent itself to the Hatchlings, and of course the Hatchlings came to life in their voices with actual real little kids who were so much fun to have in the recording sessions, and I think just gave them that extra authenticity as little kids.
Yeah, they were really cute.
we knew we wanted to do these little cutaways, and I think originally the idea was just like comedy relief, just break up some of the more dramatic scenes with our main characters with these fun little bits. But then when we screened the movie for the first time, the kids were, not just the kids, the adults, but mostly the kids were absolutely on the edge of their seats for these hatchling moments. It was very clear, like, oh, now the movie started for them. This is like the actual movie for a lot of the audience. And so we really just kept trying to find more and more fun scenes. And once we got rolling with some of these scenes, it got easier and easier to find fun things to do with these characters and have them come in at the end and help wrap up the climax of the movie.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, when I first saw those snakes, I was like, oh, wow, they went there. Wow. And then it ended really cute. That was fun. And, so I was curious, so you had a number of new cast members in the film with Rachel Bloom, Dove Cameron, Leslie Jones. So how did you decide on this new cast? Was that challenging to kind of figure out these new members of the team, I guess?
It's always so important to us to find people who are great improvisational comedians, because they not only come into the recording sessions and are able to perform the lines so hysterically funny, but they contribute so much, and their improv and ad libs and even writing that they would do on their own and bring into recording sessions can really play such a nice part in the development of the characters. And so what we did was we just went after the people that we thought were truly the funniest people out there today. And we were so lucky that we were able to have all of them say yes. And they were so excited about everything that Thurop and the team were working on and doing. And every time we would show them new material, more and more people just got excited to be a part of it. So we were super, super lucky.
And once we found them, we really wrote the characters around them. So, I mean, nothing bugs me more than hearing a voice that doesn't go with the character of the movie in an animated movie. So we tried really hard to make the characters really reflect the actors who were voicing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So was it a challenge writing the new character, Silver, the new sort of love interest kind of, but not sort of subtly, I think, for Red, that whole plot line, but making her kind of stand on her own and become confident as the movie goes along, that story arc?
It wasn't necessarily a challenge to write her in, but I think all of the writers on this were men, except for the storyboard artist. So I think first pass of her character wasn't as strong and amazing a character as she became once Rachel Bloom came in and gave her input. Because we tried to write a female character from our perspective, and I think there wasn't anything offensive or wrong about it, but I think Rachel Bloom just fleshed that character out so much and made her just so much more of a unique, special character than I think we could have done on our own, or we did on our own. We brought her up to a certain point, and then Rachel Bloom made her amazing.
That's really cool. Great. Last question I have is, what is your favorite part of the film? Do you have a favorite?
That is a hard question. I'm going to answer with a very boring answer and just say that I am super proud of the entire film and truly thought that this was, as an experience, one of the most fun I've had in my career, and that is because of Thurop and because of the team that we've been talking about. It was one of the most smooth productions I've ever been a part of, and honestly, one of the most fun.
That's great. I'll forgive you.
Yeah. I definitely have favorite scenes, and a lot of them have already been brought up by critics. But I think coming from the TV world, the most amazing thing for me to see in this movie, and I've watched it hundreds, if not thousands of times. I laugh every single time because the amount of nuance that the animators brought on once we finished storyboarding and finished doing the voice acting and putting those all together, the animators elevated the movie so much. And we really worked closely too, and they were very collaborative along the whole process. But the level of animation that these animators from Spy had, I mean, they're the best in the world. They're not only amazing technical animators, but the acting that they put into every moment and the nuance, like it feels like you're watching real breathing, living, sentient beings on screen, and it blows my mind. It blows my mind, just like the tiny little nuances of acting in every scene. It just tickles me.
That's really cool. Great. Well, congratulations on the movie. And do you have social media that either of you want to share, or how they can help you? When can people see the finished film? When is it in theaters?
Well, the movie is in theaters on Tuesday, this Tuesday, August 13th.
Yay!
In the U.S. and it will start to come out around the world this week. And so we are excited. And I am on Twitter and Instagram at John Cohen 1.
Great. And are you on social media at all, Thurop?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I think I'm just Thurops on Twitter.
Okay, great.
Maybe it's Little Thurops on Twitter. I think on Instagram it's Little Thurops.
Okay. I'll put all of that information in the description. People can check it out. And thank you again. I very much appreciate it. That'll be great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rachel.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for doing this. Bye-bye.
Sure.